Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. I thought now was a good time to sit down with GM player Fareeha when it comes to talking about the Pharah changes. We'll be looking at why Seagull considered them a nerf, but also why actually this buff is better than most people may think. You can check out all the Fareeha stuff in the description below, but let's get started. So because we haven't had you on the channel before, Fareeha, who are you and why should people listen to you when it comes to talking about Pharah?
Hey guys, my name's Fareeha and I am a GM Pharah specialist. I've been playing Pharah ever since I got the game and I've peaked rank 1 Pharah on Overbuff.
Amazing, so I guess straight away the Pharah changes on the PTR, already people are saying that they're negative nerfs. On the scope of it, what do you think of these changes, just off the bat?
Well, it seems like Blizz kind of wants to change the way Pharah is played and perceived at the moment, because it looks like a lot of people approach her as being a very long-range DPS, and while that is her strength because of lack of fall-off and splash damage, playing like that also makes her really vulnerable to hit scans and puts her at a big disadvantage against them. Now, because long-range rockets are so inconsistent just by their slow projectile nature, when you're trying to hit a hit scan who can be that consistent even at a range, it's not a matchup that goes in your favor. So where Pharah shines against such a matchup is more like close to mid-range, where she can use her flight to buy herself more time to get those shots in, and the shots themselves are easier to land, and I think that's what they're trying to move her towards.
Just to be clear as well, because it is quite confusing going over the changes, what are the positive and negative aspects of the changes that were on the PTR? Because there were two mainly.
Yeah, absolutely. They changed how her explosive damage works, so now instead of having this larger explosion radius, they shifted 15 of that damage to the center of the explosion, so it means that rockets further away are going to do less splash, all the while maintaining the damage of directs and almost directs. Now this means that long-range play is officially nerfed, and it also means that Pharah players who aren't so accurate with their shots, say like console players, lower ranked, maybe newer players, they're going to feel a distinct lack of damage.
And I guess that's the sort of main point. Straight away Seagull said that it feels like a bit of a nerf to Pharah. Do you agree with that at all?
I wouldn't say so.
What do you think he was getting at then? Why do you think, because he didn't really say why, he just sort of played her a little bit and said, feels like a bit of a nerf. Why do you think he feels like that, and why would you disagree?
Because a lot of standard Pharah players, people who don't main her or one trick her, or whatever, and they're just filling, they tend to stay further away from the fight and rely on directs from long range and splash in general. And while that used to be a completely valid way to go about playing her, especially if you had a Mercy, you know, when every team had a Mercy, and snipers weren't so meta, it became a playstyle that a few players had to move away from if they wanted to play Pharah as of late, because when you're out in the open like that and you're constantly in sight, especially when you have like a Widowmaker, Hanzo, whatever, it was never an okay thing to do. Never, because you would just get your head taken off right off the bat. And so I kind of had to figure out this playstyle where I was constantly sneaking around the whole enemy team and going on mad flanks to try to take out Widowmakers and supports from behind. So what I'm trying to get at is, while it does seem like a nerf, it only is a nerf to that long-range playstyle. And I can see what he means, because a lot of people do play like that, and most of them aren't familiar with this flanker style Pharah that plays a lot more like Doomfist, you know, like drop in from nowhere, kill, get the hell out.
That's fair, especially in like a ranked environment, because most people will be more likely to play in competitive like that as opposed to the top tiers like Seagull did before. One thing that I did sort of want to ask is, are there any almost like indirect changes to Pharah? Is there like anything that has changed the way that she plays to do with these changes? Because on the face of it, they look fairly standard, maybe not that exciting, maybe not as exciting as people expected. But like, what has changed? Do you feel that you're getting more eliminations, that you're like dying less, that you're doing less damage? What is the impact of these changes for you, at least?
For me personally, since my playstyle is kind of exactly what this change tailors to, I'm noticing that I get my ult a lot faster. I'm able to pick up elims easier, and I die a little less because of the conk changes. Not only is it 25% shorter, down to 9 seconds from 12, I think, it also knocks you back an additional 25%. So you don't feel it too much, but it's there and it definitely does help. One thing that a lot of people don't realize is how good these changes are for Pharah against, faster heroes like Tracer, Doomfist, Genji. Because these heroes are so erratic, it used to feel so difficult to take them on because of her fire rate. It felt like she had cinder blocks tied to her launcher, and certain heroes could just dance around her in comparison. Now, having the ability to fire just that much faster, I think is going to make it a bit easier to catch them in their tracks.
You said about getting your ultimates much faster. How much faster would you say? Like, are there any good examples of the difference, I suppose?
Well, I can't really say for sure because this is only on PTR and, matchmaking isn't the most accurate there. So it's not going to be the same as what my ranked environments are going to be, but I don't know. I've been able to get my ult in like 30 seconds pretty consistently, which is pretty fast. Pretty good.
One thing you said that you were going to be better against flankers, or Pharah was going to be a lot better than flankers. One of the things that Farah's been known to be good at is just putting a lot of damage out on tanks. Do you feel that because of the splash damage changes is a lot weaker? So you feel that she's a lot stronger to deal with faster heroes, but isn't as good as she used to be against slower heroes that would just take the splash damage?
I think she's just as strong, if not stronger, against tanks now. They're larger, for one, and two, I think with D.Va, for instance, before with her old fire rate, she could kind of just feather her DM and eat every rocket or eat every second rocket, but now with this slightly faster rate, it means that a few more are gonna slip through the gates, and that is totally fine by me. Eat a rocket, dumb shit. And with Winston, for example, you have a bigger overall DPS with your directs now because of the fire rate buff, so shields won't last as long against you.
Definitely, and just to sort of get the maths right, because of what you said before, because your fire speed is essentially 17% faster, it means that if you hit all your shots, your ultimate should charge like 17% faster?
Exactly.
Or is that how it feels, would you say?
I think so.
Do you feel then, because these changes feel like they were designed to make Pharah better at the highest tiers, but also make her worse at the lower, because on console and in say like Platinum below, it can be really difficult to take out a fairly decent Pharah because the aim isn't there to take her up the sky. Would you say that they've succeeded in that?
I think we'll have to wait and see, but this is definitely a move in the right direction. I believe a lot of people are scared with changes regarding Pharah. Like you said, it's so easy for her to be changed in a way that makes her better in high tiers, but also extremely OP in lower ranks. And I know people were saying to give her armor or like a bigger health pool or a buff to Barrage, but that would just be way too much because with those changes, it would kind of make her a bit impossible to deal with in such ranks.
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to when these changes were announced, like last week, were these the changes that you wanted, or were you expecting something else, I suppose?
To be completely honest with you, I'm really glad these changes are here, and I'm really grateful that they gave her something after 2 years of just nothing and buffing hit scans 5 bajillion times. But I've been having an issue with Pharah lately. So all the Mercy players seem to be dying out. No, I'm kidding. Ana, Zen are meta right now, right? Ana's really, really meta as main heals, and it's kind of unreliable. And so are like Zen Lucio heals to some extent. And so it's just not as reliable as it used to be, so I kind of had to rely on health packs. And there's just a lot of downtime of me just hiding and waiting on the ground for healing, and any downtime is like, it's bad, it's detrimental for the team, it's pressure that you're not putting on the enemy. So I was hoping for something that gave her a bit more mobility, something like a new different cooldown, like a touchdown ability kind of in her highlight intros, maybe 2 concussive charges, or just the ability to earn a faster concussive blast depending on how many directs you hit. Like imagine this, okay? You're going to dive a Widowmaker, so you fire a rocket from range, and then you turn and you conk yourself in, and then that rocket hits, and then immediately your cooldown is reduced by however much, a second, 2 seconds, whatever. And then you get that second rocket in as you're right on top of her, and the cooldown's even shorter now. You can take a few seconds, you know, reload, recharge, and you're right back in the fight. You can get your conk cooldown again to try to relocate, maybe move to another roof or angle, and it would just change the pace of her play so much. You know, because a lot of Pharah, in like at least my play, there's so much downtime of me waiting for my conk and just waiting and waiting, because without that burst of movement, without that element of surprise, she is so weak. She's so weak in higher ranks. So I was hoping for something like that to make her a bit more independent of healers and of her team, and just to have a little less downtime. And maybe we'll see if she gets any other tweaks in the future. I doubt it though. I'm not sure if they will, because I think Blizz is genuinely scared of touching her balance too much. I can see why.
Yeah, I think for the most part she seems fairly balanced. But just to sort of wrap up then, I guess the main point that you wanted to make with this video is it's not really a nerf, and the fact that you get your ultimates a lot faster would say that overall these net changes are a buff for a certain playstyle.
Absolutely, it's just a move towards changing her optimal playstyle, and I am all on board.
So what's the non-optimal playstyle, just to recap, and what is the optimal one now?
Suboptimal would be to try to play from long range, trying to get directs from there, because that's going to become so unreliable. And from there, it's so easy to get killed too, with all the fall-off hitscan buffs and the existence of so many snipers. And don't expect to get healed through all that either, because spoiler alert, you won't. That Ana, she won't look up, and that Zen, he wants that kill. And by Jeff's sweet mother of cinnamon buns, he is going to get it and leave you to die. God, I sound jaded. On the other hand, optimal play would be to be in more mid to close range, using the element of surprise, using timing, using good engages to win your fights instead of relying on splash and relying too much on your supports.
For sure. And I guess finally then, where can people see more of you playing the new Pharah and playing Pharah quite a lot in competitive play?
Thank you for having me, Ryan. You guys can catch my streams at twitch.tv/Fareeha, and I stream 5 or so days a week. You'll see lots of GM Pharah gameplay, you'll see PTR practice, educational commentary, and all that good stuff. Stop on by, it'll be fun.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. As I said, you can check out all of Fareeha's stuff in the description below. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you did. And until next time, take care. We'll see you then.